So there's nothing that wrecks a fishing trip probably quicker, outside of maybe losing a great big fish, than someone cutting you off going down the bank. Drives me crazy, drives us all crazy. There's one way you can actually win and get over it, and it's not telling the guy off or punching him out. Let's talk about it. Some guys are pretty blatant about it, and you know, it spins you out. Nothing frustrates you no matter how good a day's going. If it's fun fishing, you know, it kills you that some idiot's gonna pull right in front of you and then just mess up your fish or catch those ones. And then if it's a tournament, you know, guys are just cutthroat sometimes. It'll really spin you out. And what drives me crazy are the days when it's a weekday and you know, it's a windy, nasty day. It's cold out. There's hardly anybody in the lake. You haven't seen a boat all day, and then you see some ding dong, and you're in a huge lake. And where's he pull? I mean, he'll pull right in front of you and start fishing right down the same bank. It's like there's 30,000 acres literally, and nobody else is out here, and you're gonna fish 10 feet in front of me and start going down the bank. I mean, you just don't get it, right? So what we all want to do is just tell them off, go crazy, and that just, let me tell you, for starters, I mean, that's road rage. That's how people get shot. And like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna beat the guy up. If you beat him up, you're going to jail for assault. If he beats you up, then you know, you just got beat up. There's no winning that way. And here's the thing, most of the time with the people that do it, they usually fall into one of two categories. Either they're just jerk and they don't care. You know, it's just like they think they own the lake, or they don't care. You know, some people just get off on provoking other people. And then the other half, you know, they just don't know better. They're not that good a fisherman, or not that experienced, and they're probably just ignorant of it. They wave and, you know, say hi as they go by. And you know, either one of those cases, if you yell, you're not going to win. The guy who's a jerk, he's just looking to fight anyway. The person who's ignorant of it, instead of politely saying something, they don't know better, so they're going to get defensive. They're going to argue. They're probably going to be more determined to stay on that spot and keep you from fishing it than if you didn't say anything. And I've found that, especially when you have your buff pulled up and your hood up and stuff, and you have sunglasses on, people really can't read you. They don't know if you're carrying a handgun, if you're crazy, if you're about to start up your boat and road rage them, just, you know, if you're totally muscled jiu-jitsu guy who's gonna go MMA on them. A lot of times not saying anything and just the dirty look. People with a conscience, or that don't really know better, but they kind of figured out, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's kind of glaring at me. Or sometimes if there's two people in the boat, the guy in the front, you know, he's just kind of a jerk, but his fishing buddy in the back, you're like, I think, you know, we're kind of close, aren't we? And a lot of times they kind of get the hint. Now, the flip side is, if they don't get the hint at the beginning, all of a sudden it's like two kids or two dogs that want something, then it becomes like this precious commodity. And if you hang around the area, or even if it's a tournament and you're hanging back, and you know there's fish over there and this guy isn't fishing them, but you're just hoping he leaves, the longer you hang around, it's this human psychology, I'm telling you, the longer you hang around, he thinks, well, this guy wants to get here. As soon as I leave, he's going to move in and catch him. And, you know, I don't want him to do it, or he must know something I don't know. So it seems like the best thing you can do, if the glare doesn't work, if he's too close, if somebody's sitting on that spot, just leave. Get out of sight distance, you know, get way down, you know, way across the cove, where maybe you can babysit it and you can see when he leaves so you can come back in, or just go to another part of the lake and hit it at a different time. Just totally get it out of your mind, clear it, and just get away from it. Because the longer you stay there, the more it's going to annoy you that you can't fish it. Now, obviously, if you're in a tournament or something, it's a little bit different, and that goes for like a pro tournament down to just like a weekend club tournament or something. You know, you typically know these guys. So if it's your fishing club, or if you always fish the BFLs, or for me, when I was fishing those circuits, you fish against the same guys on a regular basis. And you can usually have a pretty reasonable discussion with most of them and just say, come on, man, I've been fishing down here, or hey, can we work together on this? Like, we're running over each other. Like, can you start on the far end? You know, I'm working right through that, whatever. And a lot of times, because they may not respond to somebody else, but you're going to be around each other in future tournaments. They don't necessarily want you, the next time they're fishing something, to pull ahead. You can have a reasonable conversation sometimes, where the total stranger, even if you try to politely say something, it usually is taken the wrong way. And then when it comes to practice, this was always a big pet peeve of mine. It's like, I don't want to go down a bank and have another guy real close where if I would need to catch some fish to see if they're small ones or big ones, or I just happen to catch one, I don't want to show him they're there. So I don't like fishing around a lot of other people unless I really have to in practice, and showing it to them. And it would drive me crazy. There was nobody else in there, and then they would come in, somebody would come in and they would start behind you. So if you're working down the bank, they pull in right behind and they're going, and to me that was like the worst, because it's like, well, I'm going to throw a spinner bait and then I'm going to see if old Tom over there, if he throws a jig, and I'll kind of double it on that. Versus, if they wanted to, if somebody else wanted to pull into the cove when I was pre-fishing and they want to pull right in front of me, more power to them. I'm not trying to catch them in practice. I would cover up the hook on my bait, put a little bobber stop or something over the hook point if I'm throwing a bladed jig or spinner bait, shake off fish if it's a worm or jig. And it's like, go ahead, catch all you want. Like, if you want to show me they're on a jig, show me, and I would have no problem come back to the tournament day and be like, I'm counting those as fish that I've fished as well. I know they're there. Like, if you're dumb enough to hook them in right in front of me and then show them off, well, like, I guess you're just helping me pre-fish. So, if people want to do that, they're just helping you pre-fish. But here's the thing. Here's how you actually win. Over the years, I've found there are actually two ways to get even, and you can totally win this. If somebody is pushing in and just being a jerk or something, or it's a tournament, or it's the only spot they're at, or it's the end of your trip, it's the last hour in the lake, and you want to fish that area, somebody else pushes in, two different things. One time I was going down a bank, I was catching pretty good, having a nice tournament. A local pulls in right in front of me, just blatantly in front, and I'm not going to have a big confrontation, but right away I just got kind of spun out by it. And I muttered something to my co-angler, who was a real good guy and a little bit older gentleman, and as our grandfathers typically do, he would, they would give you good advice, and fathers and stuff. And he said, you can do what they do, but they can't do what you do. And instead of your mind right away, when you're fishing it, you're thinking, well, if I can catch them there, somebody else is going to go there and they're going to catch those fish. They're going to screw it up. They're going to muddy up the bank or whatever, right? They're going to mess it up for me. And when he said that, that has stuck with me ever since. And it's kind of like, yeah, and maybe it's not all baits, maybe it's not certain ones, but when I'm flipping a jig, I feel pretty good with it, and some bladed jig, different things like these are in my wheelhouse. I know exactly where they're at in the bushes up here. I know how to flip it. I know how to work it. Like, I don't care what they're just, yeah, maybe they'll catch a dumb one in front of there, but like, I know how to catch them. I've been fishing through here before. Like, nobody can fish them as good as me, and it turned that negative into a positive. And I always think about that now when somebody else is fishing it. You can do what they do, but they can't do what you do. You've got a better lure, you present it better, you present it differently, you work it slower, you work it faster. You've got something figured out that they don't, no matter how good. I don't care if it's Van Dam goes through and he's throwing a spinnerbait, or it's Jacob Wheeler or something. When you come through there, you probably have some little secret bait or some technique that, yeah, he'll catch those fast moving fish, but you know how to slow down and get them. So keep that in mind. Now here's one other piece of advice that I just loved. And I used to guide all the time, and you would get other guides and locals and stuff, and they would fish close. And a guide buddy of mine once said, the only thing worse than not catching fish is being around other people catching fish. And he said, especially on a guide trip, that immediately hit home. Like, sure enough, right away you're fishing something and somebody else pulls in and they catch one, even if it's that big. The guide customers, they're looking, you're looking, you're like, what's he doing? They catch a second one. I don't care if they're all 12 inchers and they're catching just babies. Like, right away, it's uncomfortable. If it's on a guide trip, it's like, yeah, you probably need to get out of there, because they're going to start asking hard questions like, what are they doing? Why are they catching fish that we aren't catching fish? The flip side of that is, though, when somebody else pulls in, if you want to win, you can shout and you can get in a punching match and all that stuff. You're not going to win. Bear down, get focused. I'll tell you what, when other people crowd in, that has kind of, over the years, really made me just bear down. Like, I don't care if I have to go to a wacky worm or a little Ned rig or whatever. It's like, I'm going to catch fish right behind these people. You want to pull in front of me, get ready for the show, because here's it coming. And it doesn't always work, but I tell you what, if you're fishing not having a good day, or it's a tournament it's not going great, or you're just kind of losing motivation during the day and haven't been catching them, there's no better incentive than to go right behind that guy and just stroke him. And you pull out a big one, that is the best feeling in the world, pulling that big one out behind him. You don't have to say a single thing, but it's like, they know. They know. You want to win that? If somebody was truly in the wrong and being a jerk, catch fish behind them, and don't just catch one, catch a lot and make sure they're big. So bear down, use it as motivation, and there is no better payoff than catching those fish. So doesn't always work, but try to keep those in mind. Let's keep a cool head. It's hot out here in the summertime, easy to get spun out, wreck your day. It's fishing. We're out here to have fun in the first place. If it's a tournament, we're here to catch fish. So keep a good mindset, catch those fish and catch them right behind them, and let out that big smile when you do it. Big it.